Greetings and salutations. This is Ariane Taylor coming straight to you from Tailor Made Consulting Services with a special edition of Tailor Made Success Coaching. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing a segment of HR related hot topics weekly, and these segments are to occur for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And what I'm going to do is pull out a topic that's related to job seeking and actually address issues that a lot of job seekers have questions about and that I've received questions about in the past in my experiences. Again, I want to introduce myself as Ariane Taylor, and I'm a success coach. And the first segment that we're getting into is cover letters. So let's go ahead and get to it. In this session, we will talk about the following in regards to cover letters. First, are cover letters really necessary? Do hiring managers require a cover letter? What are the 3 myths commonly associated with cover letters? Cover letters do's and don'ts. And finally, cover letter action steps. Are cover letters really necessary is the first question, and yes, they are very necessary. The resume is only a rundown of how good you look on paper. The cover letter is the only chance an employer has to gaining better insight on your personality, your communication style, and your ability to actually communicate effectively, as you stated, I'm sure, in your resume. Most people state in the resume that they have great communication skills, verbal and written. However, the documents that they are submitting to the employer typically show otherwise, with spelling errors, grammatical errors, sentence fragments. So the employer is then left asking themselves, is, what you stated in the resume really true? They want to get a little bit further insight into that before actually reaching out and speaking to you. And one way that they do that is by looking at the cover letter, the structure of it, the verbiage that you use within the body of the cover letter, and exactly what you're saying in the cover letter. So those days of thinking that you can just send the resume through and apply to 50,000 jobs without a cover letter, those days are gone. So I want you to erase that from your memory bank and start focusing on the way that employment and job seeking efforts have evolved. And I'm going to help you out with that process. So the next topic the question is, do hiring managers require a cover letter? Absolutely. In most cases, they do. According to ZipRecruiter, like 50% of hiring managers require a cover letter in addition to the resume. And that's primarily geared towards the things that I just mentioned before. They want to get more of your tone, your communication style, to see if right away you can back up the part of you have great communication skills written, especially before they get to the verbal when they contact you for an interview. So it's important to remember that most employers require a cover letter. So now we're moving into the next phase, which actually talks about 3 myths commonly associated with cover letters. Now, one of those, I'm going to go ahead and list all 3 myths, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back and address each one and why these myths are so far from the truth. The first myth associated with cover letter writing is that you need to keep it short. That's false. And I'm going to explain why that's false in a second here. The second myth is that you need to use formal and technical language. That is also false, and I'm going to explain a little bit about that as well. The third myth is that you need to explain what experience you have that proves you can do the job. It's false. It all sounds crazy what I just said, right? What do you mean? I've been taught that I need to keep it short, sweet, direct, and straight to the point. Well, that is very true. However, you need to keep in mind that it's not so much about the length of the letter as it is what the verbiage used and structure of the letter is that you're presenting to that employer. Remember, this goes back to what your resume is saying about you. If you are someone saying that you're a great candidate and you deserve this job because you just know you can do it and your experience backs it, and part of the job description is stating that it needs someone with good communication skills, both verbal and written, and you say on your resume you possess that skill set, but you cannot show that in your cover letter or your resume as far as the writing part is concerned, then you've kind of discredited yourself immediately in the employer's eyes, okay? So you got to remember that employers want a sense of personality through the cover letter. You need to show and tell in today's society. So saying that you have good communication skills and showing that you have good communication skills are two different things, okay? So next, let's move to using formal language. Well, I'm supposed to sound real scholarly and show, not just say that I'm educated. I want to show them with my verbiage. Okay, great. But you need to make sure that you're picking the correct jargon that is directly associated with that position or industry that you're actually seeking an opportunity in. Cover letters today have to be curtailed specifically to the job that you are actually applying for. Be careful about the language that you use. Please do not write like you talk. I told my students this all the time. Please do not write a professional business communication in the manner that you send a text message or email to your family or friends. It's just not going to work today. You need to be specific but also be personable in your cover letters. Don't get too technical or too wordy. You can have too many run-on sentences. You're boring the recruiter. They actually only scan it really in about 30 seconds. Half of that, truthfully. So you want to captivate and grab their attention. And the last myth is explain what experience you have that proves you can do the job. While I'm stating this is false, there's a truth component to it. You do want to show how your experience directly correlates to the position and job description and why you are the best candidate. And a cover letter is not the resume, you got to remember though. So it should focus on proving to the hiring manager that you actually understand why the job is important to the company. The cover letter should stay company focused. I know it's your chance to actually brag on yourself, but you need to be careful about what you're speaking of. When you're saying, for instance or example, you see a job description that says they're looking for someone who has great sales skills and marketing skills and someone who's outgoing and an upbeat personality. You want then your cover letter to reflect that tone of what they're looking for. It's like the document is your marketing piece to try to get that interview. Just remember that the experience that you explain in the cover letter, if it's not directly related to the job that you're applying for, you might want to keep that part out. Okay? So now we're getting ready to move to the next segment here that I want to talk about today. The cover letter do's and don'ts. Do be sure to focus on the employer and the company, because this is not about what they can do for you. It's about what you can do for them. Do state how your qualifications match the position specifically. Again, you want your cover letter customized to match and actually fit the job description characteristics. Do use key action words when writing verbiage to include in the letter. Now, when I say key action words, a lot of people are like, what do you mean? Well, key action words are words that you're specifically putting in and targeting to be put into your cover letter and resume. Now, these action words, I'm referring to the actual descriptors that are listed in the job description when you actually pull up the position. And you're going to want to look at the keywords that the employer is using, such as looking for someone with a keen attention to detail, someone who has research experience, someone who's analytical. They mean just that. That's what they're looking for. So they want to see that terminology and jargon used in the cover letter. They want you to stay on target with what you can do for them. You want to pull those keywords out of the job description and plug them directly into your cover letter and your resume, because the applicant tracking systems that you're actually attaching these employment documents to are programmed behind the scenes. When the recruiter is actually putting in the requisition and job order, a lot of times they're programming keywords that they're looking for, most things that we see online and in the internet today. So in order to have your resume kind of siphoned through the pile of thousands, you want to make sure that you include these keywords to give yourself a better chance to get across a recruiter's desk. Don't rant on about yourself and or regurgitate your resume in your cover letter. Again, keep it focused. Don't write how you speak with your family or friends. Remember that you're submitting a professional document to an organization. You guys aren't buddies. You're trying to get a job. Don't be overly technical and wordy. Too much verbiage, too much technical reading, blah, 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 womp, 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 is what it starts to seem like to a recruiter, and can give off a possible negative tone or air about yourself that you don't want them to have. So let's move on to cover letter action steps. One of the first things you want to do is read the job description thoroughly. I cannot stress this enough. While you're doing that, make sure that you jot down the keywords in the skills and qualifications area, as well as the job duties and responsibilities. You want to make sure that you're using all of those connections that is weaved throughout your entire employment documents, the cover letter and resume. Do include key action words that directly relate to the job description. Do focus on what you can do for the organization and not what they can do for you. Also, remain professional in your tone. I can't stress that enough. Make sure that you read, and read again, and read the document out loud to see if it actually makes sense. Make sure you edit and review your cover letter at least twice. Check for spelling. Check for grammatical errors. Check for sentence fragments. I used to tell my students all the time that when you're in Microsoft Word, they really help you along. They've got these great features that is like a red and green squiggly mark whenever you have a spelling error or the sentence doesn't make sense. It doesn't stand for Christmas lights, people. There's a reason why there's a red line, highlighted. There's a reason why there's a green line on there telling you something's wrong. Read it out loud. Have someone else give you that feedback, because it could make the difference between landing the career and job of your dreams and then being discarded to imaginary file 13, meaning out with the trash, doesn't exist. Okay, so these are things that you have to pay attention to. So I want to wrap up this first HR Hot Topic segment of cover letters and kind of do a recap for you. I want you to remember that a cover letter is important and unique for each and every job you apply for. I want you to be specific in your language and use action words. I want you to remember not to be too technical or wordy. And I want you to remember to focus on showing your written communication skills right off the bat. I've enjoyed doing this segment for you all, and I'm going to be putting together a complete Jobseeker series for this release, an introduction into tailor-made success coaching, with hopes that this information, especially coming to you free of charge. I just really want to help people right now, because I'm having so many different individual clients coming to me with their resumes needing to be critiqued and redone, and they're missing some key components. And this is information that's not as widely shared as it should be. And I just want to be able to get that information out and share it with the masses, because I have a passion for HR and I have a passion for helping people, and definitely a passion for coaching. So thank you so much. If you want to, keep in touch and follow more helpful career tips and resources, please check out and subscribe to my career blog called Tailor Made Careers, and it can be found at TMCS the number 4 YOU .wordpress.com. Again, that's TMCS 4U .wordpress.com. jobseekerseries.com. There, I blog and post a lot of helpful career and entrepreneurship advice for individuals and small business owners. And so I hope that you take advantage of that free material and information. Also, when you're on Facebook, please go and like my business page, Tailor Made Consulting Services. And there I also post information, a lot of times jobs. If my clients are seeking people to employ, I make sure that I get the word out to everyone within my network. So please do stay in touch. And next week's segment, I am going to be speaking specifically about resumes. So I look forward to getting that out to you all. Thank you very much, and you all have a blessed day.